A predator is not just an animal. It is pure energy, a symbol of inner strength, instinct, character, and that side of our soul that never pretends. Each predator carries its own archetype, its own destiny, its own fighting style, its own relationship with the world and with itself. And the one your gaze is drawn to is always a clue about what's happening inside you right now. Before you will appear four powerful, beautiful, dangerous creatures: the lion, the tiger, the panther, and the leopard. Each one is a mirror of a different inner strength. The lion, embodiment of nobility, dignity, solar energy, and natural leadership. This is the archetype of those created to lead, make decisions, and shine. The tiger, energy of strategy, courage, intuition, and inner fury hidden beneath silence. This is the symbol of individualists who walk their own path. The panther, shadow, depth, magnetism. This is the archetype of those who feel subtly, see farther than others, and carry within themselves a mystical power that requires no words. The leopard, speed, flexibility, instinct, and incredible adaptability. This is the energy of people who know how to make quick decisions and change reality around them. Don't think too long. Just look at them and choose the one that attracts you first. Not with reason, but with inner resonance, that part of your soul that always knows the truth. Ready? Then choose your predator and discover what its energy says about you.
If your attention stopped on the lion, it means within you lives an energy that is rarely calm, quiet, or unnoticeable. The lion is the archetype of the sun, dignity, inner core, and strength that needs no proof. This isn't about aggression or power for power's sake. This is about that state of soul when a person radiates confidence simply by their presence. And if you chose the lion, this says much about your nature, about who you're becoming or have long been. The solar energy within. Inside you is something that reaches toward height, to standing straight, holding your head high, making decisions, and taking responsibility for yourself, your feelings, your path. Perhaps you haven't always felt this strength, and haven't always allowed it to manifest, but now is the moment when it rises. And your choice only confirms, within you, a leader is awakening. The archetype of mature strength. The lion is the archetype of mature strength. This isn't the turbulent energy of the tiger, the hidden inner depth of the panther, or the flexibility of the leopard. This is energy that grows from dignity, from knowing your own worth, from the awareness that you have the right to occupy space, speak, choose, act. People who choose the lion often walk a path where at first they suppress themselves for a long time, trying to be convenient, soft, invisible. But one day in their life comes a moment when the soul tires of this, and an inner voice appears that says, "Now enough. Time to come into the light." You are light. Even if there have been periods of darkness, doubts, and emotional storms in your life, now you're entering a phase where you need to learn to shine, not in the sense of showy confidence, but in the sense of inner calm knowing, I am valuable, I can. Your choice says that you're ready to acknowledge your strength and no longer hide it under masks of modesty or fear of being misunderstood. Natural leadership. Within you is a strong ability to lead people. Perhaps you don't notice this, but your energy already influences those around you. You know how to inspire, support, gather people around you who feel slightly more confident than usual when near you. You're capable of creating order where there's chaos, calm where there's anxiety, direction where others have doubts. Responsibility and the shadow. However, the lion's energy is not only about strength, but also about responsibility. The lion doesn't just rule, he protects. People choosing the lion often carry more on their shoulders than they should. They feel responsible for loved ones, for relationships, for resolving complex situations, sometimes even too much. And your choice may speak of the fact that it's time to reconsider whether you truly must carry everything. Perhaps you're taking on other people's problems, trying to be strong for everyone. Heart-centered love. The lion is connected with the heart. This is the archetype of love, but strong, honest, demanding, deep love. You're a person who loves non-superficially. You invest yourself. You value loyalty, respect, equality. You don't tolerate betrayal, humiliation, or disloyalty. If someone enters your heart, you protect, support, and give much. But if you've been wounded, you close the door, and the way back is not easy. Time for decision. The choice of the lion also indicates that now in your life comes a time of making decisions. You no longer want to wait for someone to permit you to do something. You no longer want to doubt every step. You want to walk forward clearly, and your soul is already ready. Inside you is a core that is forming that cannot be bent. You're becoming a person who can say, I know where I'm going. I'm going where I feel is right. Becoming the main hero. But most importantly, the choice of the lion is the choice of a person ready to become the main hero of their own story, not a secondary character. You stop giving your power to others. You stop living by other scripts. You're returning to yourself the right to be yourself, bold, bright, strong, solar. Main message. The main essence of your choice is this. You're entering a phase of inner maturity where your strength is no longer hidden, your light is no longer concealed, and your path becomes your own. You're the lion. You're the one who walks ahead, and the world is already beginning to feel this.
If your choice is the tiger, this says about you far more than it seems at first glance. The tiger is energy that doesn't exist on the surface. It's inside, under the skin, under the breath, under every movement. This is the archetype of inner strength that needs no loud words. The tiger is a creature that acts quietly, precisely, consciously. And if you were drawn precisely to it, it means within you lies deep power that you either already know or are just beginning to discover. Not demonstrative strength. The tiger is not about demonstrative strength. This isn't about leadership that demands recognition, nor about power that needs to be shown. The tiger is about autonomy, about the ability to walk your own path even when no one understands where you're headed. People choosing the tiger often possess inner independence that may be invisible to others, but is very tangible inside. You may be someone who outwardly looks calm, but inside moves with incredible tension, purpose, and intuitive confidence. The archetype of strategy. The tiger is the archetype of strategy. He doesn't attack thoughtlessly. He moves, observes, waits, analyzes. He feels the moment. And precisely this quality exists within you. You know how to wait when needed and act sharply when the time comes. You don't live in chaos. You live in the rhythm of your inner instinct. You feel when you need to turn, when to slow down, when to accelerate.
And now, judging by your choice, you're in a moment when your intuition is strengthening. You're beginning to hear yourself more deeply. Forged by self-reliance. Many people choosing the tiger have experienced periods when they had to rely only on themselves. Perhaps you've often encountered situations where you couldn't lean on others, and this taught you self-sufficiency. Perhaps you're used to relying on your own strength because the world was sometimes too unpredictable. But this gave you a rare quality, inner freedom. You're not attached to others' opinions. You don't need external validation. You know that everything you need is already inside. Calm fury. The tiger is also connected with what psychologists call calm fury. Not external aggression, but inner movement that pushes you forward. This is the energy born when you're no longer ready to tolerate what hinders your growth. This could be work, relationships, environment, or your own fears. The tiger chooses the moment when it says to itself, "Enough," and takes a step. Perhaps you're standing right now on such a threshold. The observer's eye. Within you is the ability to see what others don't notice. Tigers are excellent observers. They notice the slightest changes in atmosphere, in people's behavior, in space. If you chose the tiger, this means your sensitivity is high. But it's not noisy, like those who live by emotions. It's quiet, analytical, sharp. You feel people's intentions, see hidden motives, notice nuances. You rarely make mistakes about people. Solitude as strength. The choice of the tiger can also speak of your relation with solitude. You may not fear being alone. You can walk through life independently without losing strength. You know how to fill yourself without external sources. You don't depend on others' energy. You're autonomous. This doesn't mean coldness. This means you choose closeness very selectively. You don't let just anyone in. And if someone becomes part of your world, it's a rarity and a great honor. Living in rhythm, not in struggle. An important part of the tiger's archetype is the ability to live not in struggle, but in rhythm. The tiger doesn't waste energy in vain. He doesn't fuss. He moves only when it truly makes sense. And if you're choosing the tiger, this means you're tired of unnecessary actions, empty efforts, meaningless conversations. You want to live more precisely. You want every step to have meaning. Core message. Your choice is a sign of inner awakening. You're becoming more attentive to yourself. You're beginning to understand that your strength is not in being strong for everyone, but in being strong for yourself. You're starting to trust yourself, trust your feelings, your desires, your decisions. The main essence of your choice is this. You're a person of deep inner strength that moves not by noise, but by instinct. You're entering a period when your strategy, intuition, and ability to act at the right moment will become your main resource. You are the tiger. You walk your own path, and your strength lies in your silence and precision.
If you chose the panther, this is one of the strongest and rarest archetypes. The panther doesn't come to everyone. She's chosen by those who live deeper than they speak, who feel more than they show, who know more than they admit aloud. The panther is the dark energy of the soul, but not darkness as something negative. This is depth, intuition, magnetism, the power of observation, and the ability to see truth where others see only the surface. Entering the shadow. The choice of the panther speaks of you as a person who knows how to enter the shadow, into your inner space,
into emotions, into experiences, and emerge from it stronger. You're not afraid of yourself. Perhaps there have been periods of life when you had to face things that many find difficult even to imagine. Strong feelings, complex situations, inner transformations, moments when you remained alone with your depth. But it's precisely through this that you became the person who attracts others, not by appearance, but by energy. The archetype of magnetism. The panther is the archetype of magnetism. You don't need to be loud. You attract even when you're silent. In your silence, there is strength. In your gaze, there is depth. In your presence, there is influence that cannot be explained by logic. Developed intuition. People who choose the panther often possess highly developed intuition. You feel people's moods, their true motives, emotions beneath words. It's difficult to deceive you. You sense falsity from a distance. Even if you don't say it aloud, inside you have precise knowledge of where truth is and where the game is. This is a rare quality, and it makes you a person who walks through life not groping, but as if seeing what others miss. The archetype of privacy. At the same time, the panther is the archetype of privacy. You don't open up immediately. You're not one who shares your soul without a reason. In your world, there are levels, and few gain access to them. You can be open in communication, warm with loved ones, but you show true depths only to those you trust completely. And this is right. Your soul requires respect, silence, and safety. Inner rebirth. The choice of the panther also speaks of the fact that you're now experiencing a period of inner rebirth. Perhaps you're at a point where the past no longer has power over you, but you still feel its shadow. Perhaps you've emerged from difficult relationships or experienced an emotional storm. Maybe you've long suppressed your desires, your thoughts, your voice. But now begins the stage when you allow yourself to be yourself, not who others expect, but who you truly are. Power over self. The panther is the archetype of power, but not external. This is power over yourself, over your emotions, over your choice, over your life. You're a person who can experience much, but not lose yourself. This is your main strength. Emotional depth. The choice of the panther can also speak of your emotional depth. You feel downward, not outward. You don't cling to superficial pleasures. You need depth in communication, in relationships, in meaning. You don't love small talk. You love honest inner dialogues. You don't love superficial connections. You choose soul intimacy. You don't tolerate lies. You need sincerity. Your shadow becomes your resource. Now, judging by your choice, you're entering a stage when your shadow power will be your resource. You'll finally stop being afraid of your depth. You'll stop hiding your emotions. You'll stop apologizing for your sensitivity or strength. You'll accept yourself completely, and this is the beginning of a great inner rise. Core message. The main essence of your choice is this: you're a person of depth, intuition, and inner strength who no longer wants to live superficially. Your soul is entering a phase of awakening shadow energy, honest, magnetic, wise. You're the panther. You feel the world differently, deeper, and this is your gift.
If your choice is the leopard, this speaks of you as a person who possesses a rare combination of flexibility, intuition, speed of thought, and the ability to adapt to life in ways others cannot. The leopard is not brute force like the lion, not strategy and silence like the tiger, and not the magnetic depth of the panther. The leopard is a unique archetype of movement, subtlety, sensitivity, and natural agility that manifests not only in the body, but in the psyche. The archetype of adaptability. People choosing the leopard are those who can be multifaceted, changeable, fast, yet incredibly precise in their actions. The leopard is the archetype of adaptability, the ability to change trajectory, approach, decision, direction, while remaining true to yourself. If you chose this predator, it means within you lives the energy of a person who doesn't get stuck, doesn't break, doesn't butt their head against a wall. You know how to bypass obstacles. You feel when a road is closed and instantly find a new one. You don't stand still. You move, and this is your gift. Emotional intelligence. The choice of the leopard speaks of the fact that you possess highly developed emotional intuition. You don't just sense people like the panther. You understand how to interact with them. You're capable of changing your behavior depending on the situation without losing yourself. You're flexible, but not empty. You're soft, but not weak. You're fast, but not chaotic. Within you lives a sense of rhythm that helps you find the right tempo in relationships, in work, in life. Speed and precision. The leopard is a creature of speed and precision. This speaks of the fact that your psyche works quickly. You know how to notice details, interpret them, and act with surprising logic. You feel the moment. You catch the vibrations of people and events. You act not impulsively, but intuitively precisely. Forged by change. Many who choose the leopard have often experienced periods of life when they were required not just to endure, but to quickly restructure. Perhaps you've experienced losses, sharp changes, emotional breaking points, situations where the world behaved unpredictably. You learned to be flexible because otherwise survival was impossible. But now this flexibility has become your strength and distinction. Underestimated power. The choice of the leopard also indicates that you carry within yourself the energy of a person who is underestimated, not because you're weak, but because you don't always show everything you're capable of. You can be quiet, calm, even light in communication, but inside you're a lightning-fast analyst, a subtle strategist, a person who can instantly understand what's really happening. The leopard doesn't boast of its strength. It demonstrates it only at the right moment. And so are you. Staying true through change. The leopard also speaks of your ability to remain yourself in any conditions. You know how to change context, environment, format, but not lose your inner center. You can live among different people, in different worlds, in different energies, and adapt so that no one notices what work your soul is doing. But this doesn't mean you don't feel deeply. You feel very deeply. You just don't let these emotions paralyze you. Natural, effortless charm. Another thing, the leopard is the archetype of beauty, but not superficial, rather internal. You have a natural, effortless attractiveness. You may not notice this, but people see you. This is charisma that's felt in gait, in voice timbre, in hand movements, in gaze. It requires no effort. It simply exists. The challenge. Remember yourself. However, with this archetype also comes a challenge. It's important for you not to dissolve in others' rhythms. Sometimes trying to adapt, you can forget your own needs. Sometimes you adjust too strongly, even when it's harmful. Now your choice shows that it's time to remember yourself, your desires, your boundaries, your path. You're in a period when your flexibility becomes your main strength and your tool for big changes. You're the leopard. You don't just survive, you dance with the world in your own rhythm.
Now that you've made your choice, it's important to understand. The predator that responded to you first is not just an animal. This is the archetype of the strength that now lives inside you. This is a reflection of your character, your state, your energy, your truth. which you perhaps haven't even spoken aloud yet. What each predator symbolized. Each of the predators in this test symbolized a certain quality, an inner vector, emotional power that helps you walk through life. The lion spoke of your dignity, leadership, and ability to shine. The tiger showed your deep intuition, strategy, and readiness to act when the time comes. The panther reflected your shadow, powerful, wise, quiet, magnetic, that protects and leads you through depth. The leopard pointed to your flexibility, speed of thought, ability to adapt and move forward without losing yourself. Your soul's resonance. But the most important thing is this. Your soul chose precisely the predator that resonates with your inner state right now. Perhaps you're going through a period of awakening, transformation, or inner strengthening. Perhaps you're reevaluating your connections, your desires, your goals. This choice is a clue. It says, here is the strength you can lean on, the wild truth within. Within each of us lives something wild, honest, primal, something that cannot be faked. And today, you saw a touch of this strength. Your choice is an acknowledgement that you no longer want to live on the surface. You want to live from within, deeply, consciously, boldly. Your direction forward. And remember, the predator you chose is not just an image, it's a direction. This is the energy that will support you in the near future, help you find confidence, take a step, trust yourself, and let go of what no longer fits. Thank you for walking this path. And remember, the strength was always inside you. You simply allowed yourself to see it.